All right. I got
It's 10 a.m.
I got my MiRealSource water bottle. Taylor ordered us some cool swag. So I have to tell you, I scammed one of these, Taylor, from the supply room, and I have to tell you, I love it.
I still haven't got one yet. I need to get one.
You better hurry.
Yeah.
No, I do love
have
it.
so many water bottles though, but they are cute. And I actually just first thing this morning, I paid for our new swag. So we're going to have even more items coming that are unique from some of the other stuff that we have. So we'll be giving out swag bags in future episodes that we'll be doing with some other unique items that we'll be getting.
Awesome. It's like
today though, we're going to be giving away a lockbox, a MasterLock lockbox to somebody that is on today. We'll be doing something called the Wheel of Names. So anybody who registered and is on today, you'll be like the Wheel of Fortune. So we'll be giving away MasterLock lockboxes. And
$140
obviously
value.
Going over them quite a bit too. Oh, sorry, Colleen, what were you saying?
That's all right. $140 value. So that's a good price for a day.
Yeah, definitely a higher value than a couple items in our swag bags, but
yeah, I was going to say it probably beats the water bottle.
Yeah,
even on that one.
Exactly.
Oh, awesome. Got a few more people joining in. So good morning, everybody.
Everyone's saying, yay, cool. That's a great prize. Amy says she has a pen with some tools. It's come in handy a few times for her.
Yeah, Amy, I actually used that the other night. It's getting dark, unfortunately still so early. And I went up to the lockbox and couldn't see, and there was no porch light. And that little LED MiRealSource pen came in pretty darn handy. So,
you know what I like about that pen though, is I like that it's so big that when you're digging in your purse, you can actually find it.
Yes, I did. It's got that nice round
pens.
Yeah, and it also has that little screwdriver set in there. So I've had to use that before. Actually, one of the keys got stuck behind the front cover of the lockbox, and I was actually able to kind of jimmy it open with that. So that thing has saved me a couple of times now. So that was a good prize.
Yeah, Amy said she's pretty sure she got it from here on Mixing It Up, which I think she did too. I feel like I've written that name out, typed that name out, and to get it mailed to you guys.
It's exciting. All right. Pulling up
all right, Colleen. Well, just so everybody knows, we are going to be asking questions to kind of keep this going so that we get an idea of where everybody stands with lockboxes. Everybody submitted some of the common questions, but also some unique questions when they registered. So we'll be going through those as well. If it's not something that will already be part of the presentation that Colleen has. And yeah, so a couple housekeeping things that we want to talk about, or, I was thinking it might be kind of cute to call them the morning announcements.
I like that.
Yeah. I feel like I do enough housekeeping. I don't want to call it housekeeping.
Okay.
So the morning announcements for today, we have today's Mixing It Up with MiRealSource. And then on Thursday, Colleen and I are teaching the create a listing from A to Z at 10 a.m. So you can register for that. Colleen, is there anything that you want to talk about that's coming up?
Actually, yes. On Wednesday, we start the 3-part series, The Roadmap to Success. This was a class that Dawn Waldrop and I sort of wrote. We took some great information from a lot of different sources, but things that we had sat through as agents. It's basically divided into 3 sections. The first section is if you are new or you've been in the business just a couple of years and you're looking to increase your production. We set this up so you start off, the first series is basically leads and generating leads and opportunities and what you can do to go out and start making the phone ring, start working with some contacts. There's also homework in this class. So we give you homework and things that you have to do. The second part of the series is then working with buyers, what you need to know. We were finding in talking to a lot of agents who were newer, they weren't familiar with what's going on in the market as far as, hearing the words like appraisal gaps and appraisal guarantees, and how to make your offer stronger, even if it's not always changing the amount that you're offering. Sometimes it's the terms. Things like we're going to talk about today, encountering lockboxes, what you need to know when you have your buyer in tow behind you. And then obviously the last one is talking about success with sellers, how to always walk away with the listing. It's not really a sit back class. It's very interactive. We do it via Zoom. Like I mentioned, you do get homework. You are accountable to complete your homework and bring it to the following class, but it's always exciting. And I can't tell you how many great testimonials we've gotten after the class that have said, gosh, I was in the business 2 years. I closed 1 deal. And thanks to your class, I've closed 5 deals in the last, 5 months. So we've gotten a lot of great testimonials. It really does work. And like I mentioned, we've taken things from Sales Ninjas. We've taken things from Flying Tigers, some of the old Floyd Wickman role playing we do in these classes. So it's very interactive. It's very unique. And we'd love to see you can still enroll now. It starts this Wednesday at, 10 a.m. And then it's every Wednesday for 3 consecutive weeks. So we'd love to see you guys there.
Yeah. And then we also have my photo class 2 program that's coming up April 5th and May 5th. So if you have not taken that class or want a refresher, we have that posted for the spring. Usually don't do one over the summer unless there's a demand, just because everybody's so busy. So this is a great time to take it until probably the fall will be the next one. Part 1, part 2. Part 1, we kind of just go over everything, some tips, give you an idea of stuff that you can apply out in the field. And then there'll be homework if you want to attend part 2, where you can actually apply this stuff. And we go into a little bit more advanced techniques, go over our homework, our struggles, get critiques, which are some of the best ways to learn. And, like I said, some advanced techniques and tips too for you and equipment.
Awesome. Awesome.
Well, do you want me to do our first question before you pull up?
I love that. Let's do that.
Okay. All right. So just to get an idea.
Taylor's always so great at doing these polls and questions and kind of gauging where everybody is on different subjects. And it always makes it a little more interactive and a little more fun. Although I'm looking forward to when we can kind of be back in our classroom and talking to members face to face again. And we're going to be doing some hybrid classes coming up. So a lot of exciting things changing in our near future.
All right, so here's a couple questions for you guys, just to kind of get an idea where everybody stands while we go through this, to make sure that we focus on, this is kind of what we'll be covering, but just to get an idea where everybody's at. So the first question is, what type of lockbox are you currently using? Are you using an electronic? Are you using a combo and electronic, or just a combo? The second one is, what kind of lockbox are you currently using? Is that a central lock, a master lock, a Supra, or a combo mechanical only? And what concerns do you have about electronic lockboxes? Is it the cost? Is it the different types out there and what ones to use? Is it access to homes that use different brands of electronic lockboxes? Or is it the NAR mandate with electronic lockboxes?
So many things changing with electronic lockboxes. And gosh, I remember when they first came out, and man, it had to be almost 20 years ago, and what a difficult challenge everyone faced. And it was not a great experience. And a lot of people still don't love them, but you do need to know what you should expect from them. And that's really what today's class is about, is even if you choose not to use them, you're going to come into contact with them when you're showing houses, and what you need to know and what you need to expect. So,
yep. All right, I'll give you guys another 10 seconds to respond. Doesn't look like 100% have responded yet.
I love these questions that you put together. This is really cool.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So let's go through. Are you seeing the results okay? All right, so 50% of you guys are using a combo and electronic. And then the other 50% are using a combo. So there isn't anybody on here that's at least on today's Mixing It Up right now that is only using an electronic, solely using electronic. What kind are you using? 25% say MasterLock, 25% say Supra, and 50% say combo mechanical only. And then what concerns do you have? 25% say, now this was a multiple choice. You could choose several concerns that you may have. Cost, access to home seems to be the most common one. And then the NAR mandate is another question or concern that was part of this question. All right.
Very
All right,
cool.
Colleen, well, I will let you take over.
All right, I'm going to close this. I'm going to share my screen so I can show you some good examples. And Taylor, are you able to see that okay as the PowerPoint?
Yep, looks good.
All right, perfect. So as Taylor mentioned, really the whole focus of today is what do you need to know? There are so many different lock boxes in the market. We're seeing them, some associations or MLSs provide one. Some associations and MLSs provide something different. So one of the big questions, and Taylor actually had this question when we first started looking at these many, many years ago, well, if I am using one, can I use another? And, is it where I can only use this particular lockbox and I can't use anything else from here forward? So it was so we kind of came up with the idea of if we have this many questions, and myself as an agent trying to get in, I just showed a couple of houses with MasterLock this last weekend. What do you really need to know, and how do you simplify that, and do they have to give you access? So if they are using a different type of lockbox and you request an appointment, do they have to let you in? So these are all questions that we're going to answer today. And Taylor, by the way, is taking a look at the chat. So if you have a question, feel free to jump in. This is your opportunity to ask all of your questions, because when we're done today, we want you to feel comfortable when you have buyers behind you and you're walking up to a lockbox. What do you really need to know? All right. So we're going to basically focus on 3 today. There's obviously even more in the marketplace, but we're going to be focusing on MasterLock. We're going to be focusing on the Supra boxes and the MasterLock. And we're going to use words like MasterLock and CentraConnect. Those obviously, CentraKey is an app, CentraConnect is an app. And so we're going to be covering all of that. All right. And Taylor, I know, I think Taylor stepped off for just a second, but yes, I think we're all still connected. So we may want to reboot. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here's some of the boxes that you're going to be coming in contact with. The first, over to the left here, you've got your MasterLock box. Taylor, are you back with us?
I am back.
Okay, I hear you. I saw you disappear and I looked at my phone real quick that says you got a black screen, so I figured you'd be popping back on.
Yeah. I'm just
All right.
glad it didn't close it down for everybody. So I think there's something with my computer. So sorry to interrupt that.
No problem. No problem. All right. So the first box that you're seeing on the left is the MasterLock lockbox. I am a huge fan of the MasterLock lockbox. We do provide those here at MiRealSource. I like them because there is only one app that is required to use a MasterLock lockbox, and that is Showing Time. Everything is fully integrated into Showing Time. 96% of the state use Showing Time when setting up appointments on their listings. I'm a huge fan of how easy Showing Time is, that you can create Showing Time carts, that you can create, access to your properties. And it's so easy and seamless. You can do it through HomeSnap. You can do it through Showing Time. But the nice thing about this lockbox is that it is fully controlled just by Showing Time, where you're requesting the appointment anyway. The second box that you are seeing is the CentraLock box. This has 2 apps. There is the CentraLock lockbox, which is CentraKey, which is the key app, which is a paid app that your MLS can provide. And the issue with that is there's a secondary app now. Now I have to go in, request it through one. Now I have to use another. Not so bad. But if another participating MLS does not provide the Centra Key app, now I have a problem because I can download the free app, which is Centra Connect, but there is now manual intervention that needs to be done. And this is where it becomes a little tricky. That means that in order for Centra Key or the Central Lock app to give the free app the information, someone has to manually go in and do that process. This is where a lot of confusion lies, because if you use an app like this, then if you use the MasterLock app, the showing time app does everything for you. There's no human that needs to touch it. However, if you're using Centra Connect and the CentraLock app and the Centra Key app, you have all these different apps now involved, and a human needs to actually give a code to the Centra Connect box to get someone who's a non-member or not using that into the home. So that's where a lot of this confusion has come from. Then, of course, there's the Supra lockboxes, and that's the blue lockbox that you see next to it. This has had a change in their business model, and that's caused some confusion. We do have MLSs up north, a little bit north of here, that do provide this. And there's been some confusion on getting members in and getting members efficiently in. And the reason is Supra changed some of their business model, saying that if you are a listing agent and you are going to give a code to someone who isn't using Supra, that you may have to pay a $2 fee for each person who wants to come in that doesn't have a Supra app. So now the listing agent is actually paying it. In this busy market, I listed a home in Sterling Heights not that long ago. We had 26 showings in one day and 7 over asking offers. So when you've got that many people coming in the door, if you've got a lot of people who aren't familiar with Supra and you're having to pay, that can be a little bit of a challenge too. So a lot of changes in the business model. And so a lot of people are now looking, well, how do we simplify it? How do we go to one app? How do we go to where you don't have to pay anything additional? What's the easy way where people don't have to go in and manually give out these codes? And that's kind of where we find ourselves right now. And then, of course, on the end, we have just the traditional combo lockbox. And I'm always amazed when people are choosing to use electronic lock boxes. A lot of times you'll look in the comments and they'll put, yeah, there's an electronic lockbox. And if it doesn't work, then we've got a backup combo on the back patio railing, right? So now you've got to pay for 2 lockboxes, which never made sense. So you need to find the lockbox that's really going to give you confidence and is going to work for you. But for me, I also need one that's going to do all the work for me. I don't have time to go in and give 10 people a code every day. And that's where I've chosen to use MasterLock, because it's all integrated in showing time. There's nothing else I have to do. It's all automated. So let's talk about some of the other differences that you're going to see in lockboxes. So one of the big things in lockboxes is really because 96% of the state is using showing time. Well, the process as it stands right now allows even the seller to confirm appointments. But remember, if you're using the Centra Key box or the Centra Key app and the Centra Connect box or the Centra Connect app, that changes the game a little bit, because if a seller confirms the appointment, great, the time is confirmed. But remember, if you're using Centra Connect, someone has to give that code to the other agent who doesn't have the Centra Key app. So now we've got a little bit of a challenge, right? We've got the seller who wants to say, yep, that's a good time for me, which is wonderful. However, someone still needs to go in after that's done and give the actual code through Centra Connect so that agent can come in. So the ease is sort of taken out of the process, because remember, we've got multiple apps and a code needs to be sent to someone that is not using the Centra Key app. So if a seller says, yep, I'm confirming it, they're basically confirming it without a code for that agent. So the agent has the confirmation, the seller's good with the time, but they have no way to get in. So that has raised some problems. A lot of agents, I was just talking to a good friend of mine, Tom Lipinski, had the confirmation, but no code in the confirmation. And that's because the seller went in, confirmed it through showing time. But remember that that code still needs to be manually given out to that other agent. So that's where a lot of those confusing things happen, where agents are saying, well, I got the confirmation, but where exactly is my code? And that's why. So if you're using, think of it this way. If you're using the MasterLock lockbox, the app that is a paid app is the Centric Key app. If you are not paying for the app, or your MLS is not providing that app, then you have to use the Centric Connect, which is the free app, which gives you the connection, but the agent still needs to relay that code. So that's, I think, where people are getting confused. They say, I click on the Centric Connect app. Why don't I have it? Well, remember, that's the free app, but that work, that manual process still needs to be completed there. All right, so kind of going back to some of the questions that we hear all the time, if I use one type of electronic lockbox, can I still use another? So I started off, maybe I'm using the central locks, but can I still choose to use a MasterLock? What are going to be the advantages? And the answer is yes, you can still choose, even if you started off on one, maybe that wasn't the right fit for you. You can always move to a MasterLock. You can always move to another lockbox. And the other question is, do they have to provide access to the property? And the answer is yes. If they are part of our data sharing, which is almost the entire state. Matter of fact, today, the Upper Peninsula Association of Realtor and data is coming in. You're going to see that April 1st of next month. So you're going to have all of that data too. And so if they're a part of the data sharing and they are seeing it in the MLS, then yes, the good news is they do have to provide access. They can't say, oh, you don't have the app, I don't have to let you in. That's not an option. You do have to allow access to the property. And as Taylor mentioned in the beginning, NAR's cracking down on that. There's been a lot of litigation going on, and there are a lot of complaints filed every day about agents who request appointments. All of a sudden, they don't get a code. They aren't able to get in. And guess what's happening? All of a sudden, the next day it goes pending, right? So we're getting a lot more complaints filed with the MLS than we've seen before. And that's exactly what's happening, is the agents don't bother to deliver the code because it's an extra step. And so you have to ask yourself, if you're that busy that you can't deliver the code, which is obviously not working in the best interest of the seller, is that the right lockbox for you? If there's manual work that you need to do, are you using the right lockbox to make sure that your seller gets the best offer? And so those are all really good questions. And I think Taylor actually has some questions that people had submitted that we can kind of break and go through too, Taylor. So if you want to jump in with any of those.
Amy actually submitted, she might have been the one to submit this question too, as one of them that kind of ties into what you're talking about here with all the different apps and can, everybody get access? Well, does this mean that they only have access if they have a scheduled showing appointment? Is that correct? So how does that work between the different lockboxes? Do they have to have a scheduled showing appointment confirmed?
Great question. So that is another reason I like MasterLock so much. And it's because, yes, with MasterLock, you do have to have a scheduled appointment. So it has to be scheduled and confirmed. Now, you do have a window of time. You have 15 minutes on either side of the appointment. So if you get there 15 minutes early, will still work for you. If you get there 15 minutes late, still going to work for you. But I like that because you're not surprising anyone, right? The central lockbox in its default state, unless you change the appointment type, you do not have to have a confirmed appointment. Now, keep in mind, it is tracking who's showing the property, but that doesn't help you, the listing agent, when you have an angry seller calling you saying, I was coming out of the shower and Joe Schmagegi walked in because he thought it was vacant and his appointment was 3 hours ago. So keep in mind that's some of the benefits. Now, you can make sure that you set your lockbox in MasterLock, so that it does also give you that one is 25 minutes. You have 25 minutes on either side of the appointment window. But a lot of agents don't know how to do that. Therefore, lies the problem where now you've got a lockbox that, yes, you can walk up with your CentriKey app. You can pop it open, and you didn't have to have a confirmed appointment. So there's two ways to do it. Yes, if you walk up to the lockbox in its default setting, anyone can open it. However, if you have set your lockbox up properly, you can actually control that with the 25-minute window. But that doesn't get rid of the issue that if you're using that CentriLock lockbox and they are not using the CentriKey app, you've got a member of a different MLS, then remember, someone still has to manually go in and give that code to that CentriConnect app for that agent to be able to get in. So I think that's really where most of the confusion that we see is. And sometimes I do want to point out, sometimes it's not even the agent who's trying to do this in a malicious way. Sometimes, as busy as this market is, they've got 20 showings. They've got 19 of them are members of a different MLS or don't have the CentriKey app. So now what I need to do is I need to push 19 codes. And sometimes if they're standing at the doorstep requesting an appointment, it's not fast enough. That agent is not keeping up. That agent could be showing a property at that moment. So you have to ask yourself again, is this the right lockbox for me to use if I have to stop what I'm doing 10 times in a day and push out this code? And that was a big thing for me. Taylor and I are on, I think 3 hours of webinars today. So I can't stop and let people into my listing, 10 times today. I won't have that time. So that's another thing you have to think about when you're choosing which lockbox is going to be right for you. So good question. Taylor, is there any other questions we want to hit there?
I might hold on to one of them just to, because I think you're going to cover some of it.
Okay.
But the one question was that might kind of tie into this, I would say, are listing agents required to give you that 1-day code? So we're going to be going into that, right? Soon?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So they are required, and kind of as we go forward, just to answer that a little bit, they are required to give you access. And so again, part of the data sharing agreement and part of the MLS agreement is that they have to provide access to the home. That does not mean they have to they can provide access in any way. They can say there's a key underneath the front porch if you don't have this particular app. So yes, they do have to provide you access to the property, but they can provide you access in a different way. But this kind of goes back to that same thing. If you have to have 2 lockboxes on the property because you're having a hard time keeping up with giving out that code, is that the right lockbox for you? If you've got to have a lockbox and then a backup. Lockboxes, again, pretty much universally, an electronic lockbox is going to give you the time they entered the property, how long they were there, when they closed the box. All of that is being recorded pretty much no matter what lockbox you use, except obviously a combo or traditional lockbox. So you have to ask yourself, what's going to be the simplest way for me to get them in, find out when they opened it, when they closed it, and who's showing the box. And for me, again, that's going to be MasterLock because I don't have anything to do. Everything is automated. There's nothing for me to touch. So one of the things that you need to know is if you decide to use the MasterLock, and now we're just talking about the MasterLock lockbox, is everything for the MasterLock is run right through showing time. So when they request the appointment, as the working with the buyer, when that showing agent is requesting the appointment, they're doing that right through showing time. I'm entering in my instructions in showing time that it's a MasterLock lockbox. And on the bottom, probably can't see it too well, but on the bottom of your MasterLock lockbox, you're going to have a device ID. It's basically the name of your box. And then what you do is you put in what's called a sharing code. Your sharing code is very universal. When you put your sharing code in, what that means is it's now going to know who you are. It actually tracks where the box is hanging. So I hate to admit this, but I actually lost a box recently. I can click on the map and see exactly what listing that lockbox is hanging on. Everything, though, is done through showing times. There are no separate apps, no pushing of additional information. And so I put the sharing code in.
As
It
well as somebody
automatically
can, as
Go ahead.
well as not anybody can just get in without having a confirmed showing, correct?
Correct. This only will allow access. It will only basically give them the information when the appointment is confirmed. So they cannot just walk up to the box like you can with others and pop that box open without a confirmed appointment, which was obviously a huge risk. And let's face it, you're going to lose a listing if the seller comes out of the shower and somebody comes in unexpectedly that they didn't know was coming. And we've had agents lose the listing over this. So the idea is once they have a confirmed appointment, that's when they get the confirmation right through showing time, just like you do right now. If you schedule an appointment, you get an email, you get a text, however your preferences are set up, and it gives you that lockbox combination. The same process with MasterLock. And we're going to actually walk you through it. So you're going to actually physically see, I'm going to actually set an appointment with you. I'm going to show you exactly how it works, how it pops open. So we're going to walk you through that process too.
And we'll be sharing videos with you too, with the 1-day code, as well as how to use MasterLock within showing time and everything too. So you can watch those videos after the fact too.
And we're recording this, I think Taylor mentioned in the beginning. So if you get a little nervous and you're like, oh, geez, I'm going to show a property with a MasterLock, or I'm going to show one with a central lock on it tomorrow, you can always refresh, go back to our Mixing It Up. We're recording this so you can kind of just get a refresher. Here's what I need to know. Here's what I need to do. But really think of it this way with MasterLock, and we kind of invented this. It's one app, one tap. That's it. Everything is done through one app. With other lock boxes, you do need to have a series of apps to be able to open it, whether you're a member or a non-member granting access. So we're going to kind of walk you through that so you can actually see it. Some of the other misconceptions, I think, though, are that it is a Wi-Fi based box, or that I can be popping it open at the office. And that's not actually true. These, whether you're using a central lock box or whether you're using a MasterLock lock, they are Bluetooth boxes. That means you do have to be in front of the box. It's not like you can just pop it open at your desk for somebody who's there. So you do have to be in proximity of the box to open it up. A lot of people think they're like smart boxes and that, you can be anywhere, you can be on vacation, just pop it open for someone. It does not work like that. You have to be in proximity to the box in order for that Bluetooth to work. And then, there's a lot of questions on, when it gets cold, does the box work? And I've had agents I had an agent friend who was using the central lock box, and granted, it was like, 10 below. It was a very, very cold day, but the box didn't open. So those are all things that you need to take into account when you're choosing which box is going to be the right box for you. All right, so I'm going to kind of walk you through this. I'm going to show you this video too, and then I'm going to kind of recap it just with a little bit more of a live demonstration so you can actually see how this works. And I just want to make sure that as I play this, we should be able to hear the sound. And Taylor, you're going to have to, I think, help me to hear if we're getting proper sound when we play this, okay?
Yep.
So in matter of fact, if you're not hearing it properly, let me know. And I can always, I'm just going to do a stop share and a reshare just so I can make sure I've got that volume box checked here, which I think I do, but I just want to make sure they're able to hear it. Okay. All right. So this is one of our other trainers who did a great job actually explaining how the process works to set up an appointment and use that MasterLock box. All right, so let's take a look at this.
All right, so we sent in a request through showing time. The showing is confirmed.
A little quiet.
Down below where the code would normally be for a lockbox.
That a little better?
MasterLock Bluetooth.
A little bit, yeah. My volume's halfway too, so let me bring it up a little bit.
Into prompt me to open up or wake up the lockbox, and it also gives me the access code down below. So if I wake up the lockbox by pressing its home button, my app then tells me the lock is ready to open. I click that, and it automatically opens the lockbox. I remove the key, and I can close the lockbox at that point in time, which it then will register and let you know that the lockbox is ready to open at the end of the showing.
So really, again, everything is being done right through the app everyone's familiar with, which is showing time. So there's no second app that you have to go in. As you can see, Brandy's really just going in. She's requesting the appointment right through showing time.
Confirmed. If I look down below where
it's going to tell the agent it's a MasterLock lockbox.
Bluetooth. I click on that. It will take me.
There's our access code, which is automatically delivered, or again, you can click on that lock.
Code down below.
You do have to wake up the box by pushing the button.
My app then tells me the lock is ready to open. I click that, and it automatically opens the lockbox. I remove the key, and I can close the lockbox at that point in time, which it then will register and let you know that the lockbox is ready to open at the end of the showing.
Again, always recording, showing the time that the box was open and the box was closed. So I'm going to kind of kick over to a little bit more of a live version. Taylor, do we have any questions while I open up showing time here?
Nope.
All right, so perfect. Let me go ahead and share, because I know it's one thing to see a video, but I kind of like to see, exactly, a live version of what exactly are we looking at? How hard is this going to be? So I've just grabbed my listing here, and I'm going to go ahead and schedule a showing just like you would through showing time. So I'm going to say that I'm going to be showing it. And then obviously I'm going to schedule a single showing because I'm just showing this property. And then what time am I going to show it? So I'm going to say I've allowed overlapping showings. So I'm going to say I am going to show it. We'll do it actually 11. Give me enough time. And I'm going to book my showing. Select a different time. We'll do. I had to block this out so my homeowner was not getting this. So, all right. So now I've got my showing appointment. I'm setting. Now what's going to happen is your text confirmation as that listing agent. Let me go back over to here. I'm going to try to show it actually on my phone here. And I'm going to try to hook into Reflector 4 real fast. And then I can actually show it to you live. It'll be a little bit easier. I've never done Reflector 4 on where we're doing this live onto YouTube. So I hope this works.
Yeah, a lot of different things streaming right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I hope all this works as we show it together. So, but Reflector 4, we use a lot at the MLS just to do screen mirroring. That way we can actually show our phone screens in the different things that we're using. So.
And after you're done with this, Colleen, we do have Marie raised her hand. So I'll unmute her so she can ask a question. If you do not want to be unmuted and ask a question, you can type your question in the chat and I'll be able to read it. So whatever works for you.
All right, so I'm opening this up. And you know what, if you want to go ahead and do that while I'm opening Reflector, that might be.
Perfect. All right, I'll allow her to talk.
All right.
Hi, Marie, you're on. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, the question is this like different than SentryLock? MasterLock. This is a MasterLock. So
the one we're showing right now is MasterLock, yes.
So how different it is from SentryLock?
With SentryLock, you're going to need the multiple apps, as we mentioned. So that means that you're going to have to use multiple apps in order to get into that lockbox. They are not using the SentryKey app. If they're using CentriConnect, that means you have to manually push that code, where MasterLock takes care of all that and it's automated.
So there's a free app, a paid app. showing time where you have the showing. You do not have to have a confirmed showing for somebody to access the lockbox, correct? But if you are a non-member of it, you can also request a 1-day code through showing time. So there's a lot of different variables with MasterLock, where MasterLock is the one app, one tap phrase that we've been using, so that you can set everything up in showing time, have confirm, and then they get access to that electronic lockbox.
So could I say something else?
Yep, go ahead.
So with SentryLock, I had a very hard time to set it up on my phone. It never worked. And I always have to ask for a one-time code.
Right.
So is it as hard it is to set it up like SentryLock?
With MasterLock, there's actually nothing that you need to set up because everything is going through showing time. So I went in and I actually requested, you just saw me request the showing time appointment. It's going to give you your showing confirmation. This is all you need, where versus when you're using SentryLock, remember, if you have to download the Sentra Key app. A lot of people have told me that they've had difficulty with that. If you're not using the Sentra Key app, if you're not paying for the app, well, then now you have to download the Sentra Connect app, and the agent has to give you that code to get in.
Right.
So where I like MasterLock, because I don't have to do any of that. MasterLock, there's no apps that you have to download. You only have to download showing time, which is what we're already using, which what we're already scheduling through. So you saw me request my appointment on that property. Now what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to click on my showing confirmation, and it's going to show me, yep, here's my appointment details. So basically you can see I'm using the showing time app. That's all I am using. I'm not using anything else. And then I'm going to go into my tap details, and you can see right in showing time, here's my access code. Everything is right here. So I'm going to stop sharing from my phone. Everything is delivered through showing time itself. There's no additional apps, because that was very hard for me, exactly what you described. I had a hard time downloading the app. I also then had a hard time explaining to the other agent how to give me the code. I'm literally walking them through it for their listing. And that was very difficult for me. So I'm going to stop sharing here for one moment here. So, because I want to show you how it's going to work on your phone, and I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit. So now I have my app here. You saw that I just had my everything delivered right through my confirmation, right in showing time. So there's nothing else I have to look for. All I need to do is wake up my box, and I am going to now type in my code. Let's see, I think I figured that. I'm now going to type in my access code, and done. I can now open up my box. So 0 helps if I put all the 3s in there. 2, 3, 6. As you can hear, it clicks. I pull it forward, and I'm pulling out my key. So again, everything is delivered right from my showing time app. And all I have to do now is put that code in, wake up the box, put the code in, and pull it forward. So it's really that simple. No extra apps to download, no worrying about how do I give the agent that code. Everything is done right through showing time. And that really is the beauty of it. So really good question. Marie, did that help simplify it a little bit?
Yeah. Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
All right, I'm going to bump you back down, okay?
Yeah.
But thank you for asking your question. It's always nice when we get to talk to people, and I miss being in our classroom and getting all that interactive, time with everybody. So it's at least nice when we get to chat a little bit.
Oh, I'm muted. Sorry. Okay, so Dave Budney was on our live, stream on YouTube right now, and he was asking, when are we going to be doing in-person classes? We are actually entertaining the idea of doing some hybrid classes, smaller classes. So we're looking into getting a setup right now where we'll be able to schedule a few in-person classes, but also allow more people to join via webinar as well. So good question.
All right, so I think we can probably bounce back to our bounce back here. I know I did a little moving around here. Let's bounce back to our PowerPoint and finish up where we left off. Taylor, are you able to see that okay?
Yep. And Judy just asked about like the size of the MasterLock, if they're going to be smaller, or how that would work. Because I know something that maybe is really clunky would probably be hard to put on some doors.
Yeah, they're all kind of large. This one is a little bit wider. So if you have and I've noticed this is a really good observation, Judy, because it's wider. If you have a handle that's very close to the door frame, sometimes that can be a little bit more challenging to kind of get it. Sometimes if I had to angle it a little bit, it doesn't look quite as nice. I know that they have talked about making the boxes a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter. I don't know where that stands with them. I know it has come up several times, and I did have one even myself. It was kind of it was a pretty doorknob, but it was very close to the door frame. And so it can be a little bit harder. You kind of have to make it a little bit more askew. So it's a really good observation. I don't know what the ETA on that is. I know that they were talking about it, but I don't know what the long-term plan is. But I'd be happy to share that when we do get it and kind of do maybe a push out with MasterLock and talk about it. All right, so let's talk about getting that one-day code. So now we're going to switch over to the Central Lock lockbox. Again, showing you a real quick video of how they have to go in and manually request. And in my opinion, this is a lot more work. As you saw, really the beauty of the whole program with MasterLock is it's one tap, one app. I'm walking up. Again, I'm hitting the key, I'm putting in my code, as long as my fat fingers don't screw it up. You hear the click, you pull it open, it's done. Everything comes through showing time. But if you are using the Central Lock lockbox, there are extra steps, as I mentioned, in order to give that code to someone who may not belong to that same MLS. And so that's what we're going to take a look at right now. I'm actually going to show you a quick video on the extra steps that need to be taken when you are requesting a one-day code.
Hey everyone, this video is to show you how to request a one-day code on a listing with a Central Lock lockbox. So I went ahead and made an appointment, and the showing is confirmed. And in this showing notification that I received, it shows me the appointment details and the access details. And in the access details, I see that it's a Central Lock. This alerts me that I need to go and contact the listing agent through showing time and ask them for a one-day code. So when I pull up showing time, I'm going to go into that request and click view and modify. And once I get into there, I'm going to go to send message. And that messaging center is going to populate, and it's going to directly communicate with the listing agent. So I'm going to go ahead and ask for a one-day code. And it's important to use showing time so that that listing agent knows that I am a licensed agent in good standing with the MLS. They're not texting me the code or emailing me the code. They're allowing showing time to confirm that I'm an agent. So that agent went ahead and sent me an access code. I'm going to thank them. And that is how I request a one-day code for a Central Lock lockbox through showing time.
Now, in a perfect world, that would be great, right? Because an agent's just sitting at their desk with nothing going on and can stop immediately and give you that code if you are actually on the front porch. But let's face it, that's not generally, unfortunately, how it works. especially if they have multiple agents getting through. So yes, you can request that 1-day code, but unfortunately, a lot of times we're seeing that we need that code. We're walking up to the home. We've got a confirmed appointment, but in our confirmed appointment, there is no code to get in. And this is where it becomes tricky, because if you're not looking at what type of access, let's say you request 3 or 4 appointments at one time. You're requesting them, you're getting in your confirmations, right? Most of us don't open up the confirmation and ensure for every one of those appointments that there's a lockbox code. And so what happens is, again, if the seller is confirming that appointment, you've got a confirmed appointment, but you have no code to get in. That's where you now have to request a 1-day code from the listing agent. Again, doing it through showing time so they know you're a licensed agent. They should know that already because I have a confirmed appointment in front of them. However, they've got to get me that code in order for me to come in. That's where I'm more of a fan of MasterLock, because it's automated. There is nothing else I have to do. It's being done for me. And that's the big takeaway. Taylor, any other questions we want to hit here?
Let me check my notes real quick, but I think we've pretty much covered the questions submitted. Just let me double check. Talked about the signal, right?
Right.
And then what do you do when the lockbox is dead was one question that was submitted.
Great
You
question.
mentioned cold weather. So these are all really popular questions that you've covered, but maybe just to summarize a little bit more before we do a giveaway.
So with the MasterLock lockbox, the nice thing is it has a 30-year battery. So it shouldn't be running out of battery, at least for the next 30 years. However, there are 2 little prongs at the bottom. If for some reason there is an issue with the battery, you can actually hold up a 9-volt battery, which will charge the box enough to open the box. So there is a workaround. If for some reason the battery, I've used them for the last, I think 3 years, I've never had a problem with the battery. But if for any reason you did, you can use a 9-volt battery to open up the box long enough to get it open, to put your code in and open it up. So there is a fail safe. Like I said, I've been using them for several years. I've had one hanging on my listing in Wales right now. No issues, even when it was cold, no issues. So yeah, I don't expect you would have an issue with the battery, but there is a backup where you can hold that battery at the bottom and then put the code in to open it up.
Ashley Andrews asked if there is a membership fee for MasterLock like there is with CentralLock.
Very good question. No, there is no fee. You do have to buy the box. And that's really just so you understand the business model. That's what makes the CentralLock a little bit more challenging, is they really, the boxes aren't where they make their money. They make their money off the thousands of members who have to have the app. There is a per app fee. With MasterLock, there is no fee. It's like if you went to Home Depot and you bought it off the shelf, you pay for the lockbox itself. Now, when you buy a MasterLock lockbox, you want to buy it, and you can buy it right through MiRealSource. You want to buy it from your MLS because we program it for you, and we put that showing time integration in there for you. But there is no app fee, because remember, there's no app. So you don't have to pay a monthly ongoing fee. You buy the lockbox, you own it. You can, and then another cool thing that they've done that I really like, when I put it on my Wales house recently, it had, when you put that sharing code in, it says, okay, you had this previously on this listing. Do you want to move it to this new listing? And it transfers that information for you. So all you have to do is put the sharing code in, and it actually moves it in showing time over to that listing. Like I mentioned, in showing time, you can see where it's hanging. It does record the opening and closing of the boxes, only opens with a confirmed appointment. So for me, this is a much better one. So to answer your question, nope, you don't have that ongoing monthly fee. You buy the box, you're done. It's just like a traditional lockbox. You buy the box, you're done. You don't have to keep paying a subscription fee, where you do with the central lockboxes.
And then another question that came through was, does MasterLock keep track of all the times it's open and closed?
Great question. Yes, they do keep track of when the box is open, when the box is closed. And it's so nice. The integration is so perfect in Showing Time and MasterLock because they're one app. It's recording all of that. I can see when it's open. I can see when it's closed. I can see who showed the property. So it keeps this whole timestamp of everything that's happened on the property. So I can see how long the person was in that particular home. I can see when it was open, when it was closed. But now if you look at the Showing Time app, they've built in some great integration too. So let's flip gears for a moment. You are the listing agent and you said to your seller, just, head down the road. You've got a dog, head down the road, take the dog for a walk. Now, when the box closes, it pops up in Showing Time to the showing agent. Hey, are you done with your showing? They can click done, and it now can alert that homeowner they can come home with their dog. So they're not walking around for a whole hour. You've shown it, and 10 minutes later, you're done. You close the box. Showing Time now says, are you done with your showing? You hit I'm done. And now that homeowner can come home with that dog. They're not wandering around for the rest of the appointment time. So it really works hand in hand. It's great on the listing side and it's great on the showing side. It really works hand in hand to make everybody pretty happy.
Roughly how much is a MasterLock? And what do you recommend they do to get started? How many to buy? Things like that.
So what I suggest is start with one and try it out. I think once you try it, you'll be hooked on it. I have 3 or 4 that I've purchased. I don't hang them on every house. I'm going to be honest. I still have a bunch of, combo boxes that, I'll use for sporadic listings, or maybe if they're not the nicest listing in the whole world. But, especially when a property is occupied, I want to be able to tell my seller how long people were in the house, when it was open, when it was closed. I want to be able to share those details. The MasterLock lockbox is $138. That includes the integration with Showing Time. We set it all up for you. We set it under your name. So all you have to do is literally pick up the box from MiRealSource, or we can drop it off at your office, and then put the information into Showing Time when you get a listing. That's really it. So I would suggest start off with one, test it out, make sure it's the right lockbox for you. For me, it was a no-brainer. I don't have to worry about giving codes. I don't have to worry about people opening it if I forget to take it out of its default setting. Again, with MasterLock, they can only open it if it's a confirmed appointment. So this was just a lot easier. I didn't have angry agents calling saying, I've been asking for a code for 2 days. It just made more sense. You can get them through MiRealSource. Like I said, we set them up. What I do caution you is you can buy these at the like Home Depot and other places, like you can buy other MasterLocks. Don't buy them there, because then you have to pay for the separate setup for Showing Time. If you get it through MiRealSource, we handle all of that for you. So literally when you pick up the box, it's assigned to your name and it's ready to go. So yeah, $138 is the price, but no ongoing subscription, no app fees, no second app needed. You're good to go.
Yeah. Or paying as, wasn't CentralLock too, where you had to pay
You're leasing
for
them.
non-access, or you're leasing as well?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
You're leasing them through CentralLock. And then that's another thing in talking about Supra. The Supra boxes were the ones that you now have to pay for access of non-members. And by the way, it's not cheap. It was like $2 or $3 in access. So if you've got 10 agents, let's say you're the norm right now and you've got 15 showings, you're brand new on the market, and you have people flooding through the door. If you're paying for 10 agents a day, $2 to $3 per access, that gets kind of costly. I mean, that's it. At the end of the day, if you've got a property on the market for 20 or 30 days, and it can cost you a little bit. So for me, this was just much more logical, and there's no surprise fees. There's, like I said, once you enter the ID, it just keeps telling you had it on this listing. Would you like to move it to this listing? Now you had it on this listing. Would you like to move it to your next listing? So it really takes all the, even the keystrokes of entering information, and takes all that out too. So. All right.
Are there any last minute questions before we give? How many are we giving away today, Colleen?
2. Let's give 2 lockboxes away.
Okay. All right. So any last minute questions? Let me double check the questions that were submitted and make sure that there wasn't anything that wasn't covered.
And And I, believe it or not, we actually finished the PowerPoint. I didn't think we'd make it all in. We made it just in time.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
good, awesome. And you guys can always rewatch this too. Right now it's live, but the one recorded will be up on the Mixing It Up playlist on our YouTube channel. And I also added a link to everybody in the chat that is our playlist for the lock boxes, the electronic lock boxes. So in that playlist, you will see a 1-day code as well as what Colleen demoed for using MasterLock as well, between MasterLock and showing time in that setup piece. So that both those videos are in that playlist. I think there's only like 4 videos total, so you don't have to really dig or anything for them. And it doesn't look like there's any other questions. Let me double check the live real quick.
You have to check 2 places. I didn't.
I know, now I have to check 2 places. So, all right. Looks good. I am going to share my screen in just one moment. Where we will do the name picker.
I love this. This is Jake's favorite game. He loves this on my computer. He puts his name and the dog name and my name on it and plays this wheel of names all the time. He thinks it's awesome.
So this was as of about 15 minutes, 20 minutes before we started. So if anybody registered a couple minutes beforehand, then you're not in this wheel. But we added this, these names that were people that were registered, 20 minutes or so before. So we're going to do 2 of them, 2 spins. You have to be on to win. And you will be getting a MasterLock that we'll set up and you can pick up. Oh, Judy. Judy actually had quite a few questions. So
Yay!
that works out really well. Judy, you won a MasterLock.
Great job, Judy. Now you're going to have to give us some feedback. We're going to have you come to another Mixing It Up and give a little feedback on what you thought.
So we'll reach out. She said, awesome, a bunch of exclamation points. So Judy, we'll be following up to get the, oh wait, you have to they come and get them, right? Because Brian sets them up.
Yeah, what office is Judy at? And I probably can drop it. I think I know which office she's at.
If it's relatively local, right?
Yeah, as long as you're not on the, she's in Richmond?
Oh, well, that works out.
Well, I live in Richmond, Judy, so I gotta tell you, you're in luck.
So we'll have it set up and Colleen will personally drop it off for you on her way to the grocery store.
Yeah, exactly. It's a small town we live in, so we got 1 grocery store. The odds are good I'm gonna pass you.
All right. And the next spin, I meant to take Judy's name out. So if you land again, Judy, sorry. Eric.
Oh, great. Eric, congratulations. I think Eric, if I remember correctly, we did a deal together. And I think he's with Simon Monahan in St. Clair. Is that right, Eric?
Yep, he is on too. I haven't seen his name come through with questions, so I just wanted to double check to make sure he was on.
All right, terrific. I think if I remember correctly, we did a deal up in St. Clair. If you are up in St. Clair and you're the Eric I think you are, then I'd be happy to drop your lockbox off. You're pretty local as well.
Yep, he said yes, Simon Monahan. So
yeah. We sold a boathouse together, believe it or not, which I had not sold. That was a first for me. So he probably doesn't even remember. I'm sure he does so many deals, but I do remember it involved an antique boathouse, which I had not sold before. So it sticks in your.
She said, be careful. Yes, I do.
Oh, that's great. Well, I will be happy to drop that off to you, Eric and Judy. And again, congratulations. And they're both, believe it or not, they're both within 15 minutes of me. So that's pretty cool. I never am that lucky.
That works out great. Well, congratulations, Eric and Judy. And like we mentioned, subscribe to our channel, please. You'll get notifications of when we go live with classes, events. And then this recording will be added to the Mixing It Up playlist. So if you have not subscribed to us, please do that. And we will be back next month. Ashley
Awesome.
said, thanks for the information and clarification on locks today. Thank you.
Thanks for attending. So hopefully
Yes,
we made
thank
it a
you,
little,
guys.
they're complicated. So hopefully we broke it down a little.
Yes, you do a very good job. I just kind of stayed silent here because this can be a very confusing topic.
It is. I'll tell you, they're never going to be easy, but at least hopefully you picked up a couple takeaways that will help. So
Very informative. Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you next month.
all right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.